Welcome back to another video, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the front lamp visors for my 2021 Road King. I actually meant to do this video like a month or so ago, but between the two jobs I have, being harvest and everything else going on, I have not had a lot of time to actually be on YouTube doing anything or adding parts to my bike or anything like that. Also, when I bought the visors, I didn't know that you actually had to have these extra pieces that go with them. So we're going to be taking a look at the front headlamp visor, and we're going to take a look at the passing lamp visors as well. And if you're going to be doing these, at least on the newer ones, I think you're going to need a new spring kit for your front lamp, and then of course you're going to need the passing lamp trim rings for your side lamps. So I'm not going to waste too much time with this. Let's just go ahead, get right into it, start getting this thing taken apart, and get these visors on. Alright, so the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get the headlight trim ring off. So that little screw that's right down here, right underneath, go ahead and take your screwdriver, go ahead and unscrew that. Screw's going to look like that. Don't lose it. So once you get that done, we'll go ahead and pull this off. It should just pop right off like so. And inside there's going to be your stock clip right there. Then you're going to have these two other clips right here. So these two are the ones we're going to be replacing. The stock one we're going to leave alone. So I'm going to reposition the camera and I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Alright, so we went ahead and got the trim ring off. This is what we're going to be looking at the inside view of it. So you got this rubber gasket ring. We're going to go ahead and pull that out. Get it past the clips there. Set that aside. I don't think we're going to need this, but I think that's going to be up to you in the end of whether you replace it or not. But I don't think you really need to have it. So go ahead and pop these two big clips out. This stock clip that's right there, that small one, leave it alone. So we're going to take our replacement clips that came with the kit, and we are going to go ahead and get these set up. So you'll kind of want one here at about the 10 o'clock position, and then right here at about the 2 o'clock position. So we're going to go ahead and take our clips and set them in like so. They could be a bit tricky to pop in there, but that's what the one looks like. And then of course we'll do the other side here. Go ahead and set that there. Inside in, other side in. Alright, so that don't look too bad. I'm happy with that. At least I should be happy with it anyway. Next is going to be the visor. So that black strip that I mentioned earlier, you're going to have to figure out exactly how far back you want to place that. It's recommended about a 1/16 of an inch away from the actual visor lip itself. So I just did my best to try and take a guess. It's going to set right on top of the actual headlamp itself. So you're going to make sure you want to get that in there. So let's go ahead and push this into the back here. Try to get it up and under those clips, because this is where it's going to sit. Alright, so now once you got it under those clips, go ahead and push it all the way up. And that should seat it nice and properly. You are going to probably have to adjust this once you get it onto the bike, because it's not going to stay centered like this until after we get it all kind of fastened down. So that looks pretty nice. That's not too bad at all. So hopefully we can get that on without any further issue, and we'll go from there. Alright, so once you got the visor and the springs and everything placed into the trim ring, you can go ahead and come back over to your motorcycle. So I didn't know if you're supposed to keep this rubber gasket in there or not, but I didn't like how loose it was around the headlamp itself, and I didn't like the gap that was there. So I went ahead, took the original springs and I put them at the bottom, and I put the gasket back in. Obviously the gasket isn't going to connect at the top, but that's okay. I just want this gap all the way at the bottom filled out and around. I just didn't like it. So you can do it however you want, but this is the way I'm going to do it on my motorcycle. So go ahead, and I'm going to get this line back up and make sure I have the hole lined up so I can find it. Once you're all lined up and ready to go, just push everything kind of right into place, and it should all just kind of pop together, because that stock clip is going to lock back in there, and then of course everything should just fall into place. Make your adjustments to your visor ring right now, because once you tighten it down, it's going to be a pain in the butt trying to do. So if you need to center your visor, make sure you're doing it now and not later, because then you'll have to loosen everything back up. All right. To me, let's see. I think that looks okay to me, so I'm going to go ahead and put the screw back into the bottom of the trim ring. All right. All right. That ought to do it for the headlamp. That looks freaking sweet. So next part, I'm going to do these, and we'll get the passing light visors installed. Well, shoot, it's about an hour or two later since I was filming the last little bit of this. The reason being, I ran into some issues with the fitment of these rings and the visors. These rings that I supposedly had to have in order to put the visor together, it's not working for me. It's way too loose to where I would put the visor in, I'd start tightening it down, and I could do this, or I could wiggle it and it would move. Almost feels like it's wanting to fall out of there. So I can only imagine going on the road, you know, I'd be riding along and then all of a sudden it's like down here, completely underneath where it's not supposed to be. So I went ahead and used my stock ring to finish this one, and as you can see, it looks freaking beautiful. It don't move. I can't move it from side to side without having to put tons and tons of effort into it. So that's how I'm going to finish out this video. It's the same way you would install it whether you had the other rings or these rings or whatever. So I'm going to finish this video out, get this done, and hopefully the rest of this goes here pretty smooth. Like I say, I should have been done with this by now, but I've been looking at different things trying to figure out why these aren't fitting, and I'm not the only one that's having fitment issues with these types of visors, these types of rings, because I see it in the reviews on Harley Davidson, I see it in the forums, I see it here and there, so I'm not the only one. So let's just get this finished up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and show how I'm going to do this the easy way without taking this whole thing apart. Since with the other rings, if you were to change out the rings, you do have to take this apart, and it is a pain in the butt trying to get it back together. You almost need an extra set of hands to do it. Like, it's just so overly complicated. So I've already loosened the screw up down here, and so I'm going to take this visor piece and I'm going to try to slip it right inside of this trim ring. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to try and make sure it's all lined up real good before I tighten the screw down. I really don't want to have to untighten it. So I think it'll be alright. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down, whichever side has the screw. I think it's this one. I was actually tightening the other one, trying to get it to snug up, since the visor was sitting so loose inside, and I ended up breaking the ring, believe it or not. So that kind of sucks. The screw literally pulled through the hole that's down here, and I'll show that off maybe here in just a minute, but that could be just a bit tighter. So that's what I'm going to try to go ahead and do. Hopefully without breaking it this time. There. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. So, like, there's still just enough play to where I can move it with my hand, but I don't think the wind or anything is going to mess it up on you. That's pretty solid right there. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that is probably good to go. Well, shoot, I think that's going to conclude it for tonight's video. Despite the technicalities, I was able to get everything kind of on there and put together. Like I say, fitment was an issue, and I'm not the only one that has had an issue with the fitment on these visors. I know a lot of other people have had the same issue that I've ran into, but managed to make it work with the stock rings for the passing lamps. So that's pretty nice. They aren't going to go anywhere. I've made sure that these aren't going to go anywhere, so maybe I can MacGyver something in the future to make those other ones work, but they were just way too loose. They wouldn't hold the visors in place. They would just, you know, turn and wiggle, and that's not something I really wanted, so made it work with the stock lights, so that's okay. Go ahead and turn that on. We'll get a look with it all lit up. And it looks good. You know, and really, any kind of chrome like this, you know, anything that just adds a little bit more to it, just to really complement the bike, especially, you know, on a bike like this where it's a Road King, because, you know, you always think of Road King, you think of that classic look. Really brings out the length in the front, really just makes the whole bike shine a little bit more. And then, of course, coupled on with the turn signal visors and the chrome tail light collar that I did last time, it still looks good. And of course, they've got the Harley Davidson bar and shield and the eagle wings on there, so I won't be taking those off anytime soon, because I'm really happy with those. But for now, I think it's time to go inside and get ready for work tomorrow. So you folks have a good night. I hope you found the video useful. If you did find it useful, do leave me a like, leave a comment. I read and try to respond to everything, so I think that'll conclude it for this video. Folks, ride safe. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.